So I gotta be honest, this episode was better than the last one. They didn't beat us over the head with the same information over and over again a lot. Now, the one thing they did start off with is the Prince Zuko trying to get rid of his banishment, trying to return home, and trying to become the Crown Prince again. They did kind of bash us over the head with that. Yes, we already know that that's what Zuko's wanting to do in the first episode. You don't need to start off with that, but it wasn't as bad in the previous episode, so I gotta give them some benefit for that. But overall, just right here, it was again another 4 out of 10 for me. Several issues that just deviate from the cartoon show, that they would have stuck with the cartoon show, they would have made the show better, and also you would have had to have it for a full on hour. You could have kept it to the nice tight 30 minutes, and it would have been a lot better for everybody involved. Just for example, here, the MacGuffin device of the journal. Why do we even have that? Why does every show need a MacGuffin device? I mean, in the cartoon show, it's just Aang and his friends flying around, trying to learn bending, go to different masters, just experience the whole world in its entirety. But we have this MacGuffin of this journal that's guiding them. Why? Like, why do you feel like you need a MacGuffin just to propel the plot along? It's absolutely useless. It's not necessary. Aang should already actually know a lot of all this because he's been a monk and he's been training. So I'm going to presume the monks didn't neglect Aang's studies on the other avatars. So why does he need this, and why does this all sound like brand new information to him? Especially since this avatar that we're going to go see, Avatar Kyoshi, was just one of his previous lives not all that long ago. So why is this being treated as revolutionary when in reality it really shouldn't be all that revolutionary? I mean, I know in the cartoon show some of the information was revolutionary to Aang, but I thought that at least he had some grasp on who Avatar Kyoshi was when they went to go to Kyoshi Island. Now, when we go there, I did like a couple aspects of Kyoshi Island. It's a shutdown island. They're not letting anybody in. That's how they're staying safe from the Fire Nation, is that no one's allowed in, so the Fire Nation doesn't come and bother them. So I kind of like that premise being built up. They're allowed to keep their culture. They're allowed to just continue to be followers of Avatar Kyoshi. As long as they don't bother the Fire Nation, everything's good to go. And Aang's and his groups of rival has upset that balance, so I kind of like the dynamic that we have going on there, that they only have 48 hours to get what they need and then leave. So good on them. But also, one quick thing, why don't they recognize Aang as first an airbender and second as the Avatar? Now you might be thinking, well, Carl, no one's seen an airbender for over 100 years. Why would you think that they would recognize him as an airbender? Well, first, if the Southern Water Tribe, who's far away from everything, knows what an airbender is, why don't the Kenoshi warriors? Two, they literally are serving an avatar. I'm going to presume that they've seen what his other forms are like in his other states, and I'm going to guess they know what other airbender avatars look like. So why is this taking them by surprise that Aang is the avatar and that he's an airbender? I mean, it doesn't last long, but still, it causes a statue on the island to light its eyes and shone on Aang like he's the chosen one in order for them to recognize him. And that's another thing. Like, the statues coming alive isn't a common occurrence, and that didn't happen on Kenoshi Island. So why are we using it here? I mean, yes, it helps prove Aang is the Avatar, but still, I just got minor gripes with that one. Like, we didn't really need that here. Now, also, I gotta mention a couple of the other gripes with this whole Kenoshi Island part is that first, Sokka and Susie's relationship. Okay, so Sokka in the cartoon show, he was a bit of a sexist. He thought he was better than girls, and you could say that was from his upbringing because he was the only one in the tribe that was still a dude that had to protect everybody, and everyone else in the village was women and kids. So, of course, he had a superiority complex that made him think that he was better than everybody. And so when he came up against the Kenoshi warriors on Kenoshi Island, his reality kind of dissolved when he fought those girls because they just completely manhandled him. And in the cartoon show, he gains a grudging respect for them and even learns some of their ways to improve himself as a warrior. In this show, yes, Sokka gets a little manhandled and he's a little bit disrespectful, but not really. Like, he also calls himself like there's no use for warriors in the Southern Water Tribe. Like Sokka in the cartoon show would never say that because he would be a very proud warrior. He would be following his father's footsteps. He would have that image burned into his mind of his mom being killed by the Fire Nation. So yes, there's a very good reason for the Southern Water Tribe to have soldiers. So why would Sokka think that he doesn't need to be a warrior, and what use is there a warrior down in the Southern Water Tribe? There's a major use for it. So I don't understand why the writers felt like they had to demean Sokka in this way. Also, the relationship that Sokka and Suki have is kind of more like just friends, sort of. Like, I don't remember them getting all that intimate within that first episode of the meeting. Now, maybe they did, and I'm just not remembering it, but I thought that they left each other with a grudging respect, kind of like a fist bumps, friends, respect for each other, and later on they get their relationship developed later on, because this felt way too rushed. Like, if the show is following the cartoon and this is what happens, okay, fair enough, I'm sorry, I'm just not remembering the cartoon show well enough, but this was way too rushed. You could have that little play back and forth of Sokka trying to impress the girl but failing, and him being attracted to Suki. That's all fine, but that's when you take it up another step and you all of a sudden have them kiss right out of the blue, and you're trying to create some more meaningful relationship between two people who just met, like, what, 5 hours ago? So I'm sorry, but I never took Sokka as the guy who would just kiss a girl within 4 hours of meeting them. Like, yes, maybe in a couple of days, absolutely, sure, why not? But within 4 hours of just meeting them, like, I'm sorry, that's going to be a no from me, fam. Now, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it has been 2 days, and maybe they've had more intimate time together off the screen, and, maybe we're really seeing something grow here. But as far as I could tell, it was just a couple hours. They did a horrendous job showing us that it's been 2 days that they've been there. So, you guys are going to have to tell me if I'm just being hypercritical here. But the whole relationship was just way too rushed, and I wouldn't develop this until later on, maybe a season 2 or 3, when Sokka and Suki meet up, and they can have some more time together and talk to each other and really get to know each other and actually develop feelings for each other, because this is just way too fast. Now, with that said, that's not the only issue that I have with Kenoshi Island. I also have an issue with the more girl boss Katara. Like, yes, it's great, Katara's learning waterbending, but do we really have to reconfirm to her that she's a waterbender, that she will be great? Like, yes, you can bend water. Cool. And can bend air. We don't see Katara telling Aang, like, you're an airbender. Way to go. You're the airbender. Like, or you're the avatar. Yeah, you're the avatar. Way to go. You're the avatar. Like, I don't enjoy the praising for each other just for the sake of praising. If there's something that she accomplishes and you can praise her for that, great. Or there's something that Aang can accomplish and you praise her for that, awesome, also great. But this, like, I'm just going to praise you for being you. It's meaningless, it's dumb, it's boring, move on. Like, it was fine the first little bit when we were just getting to get to know Katara, but why are we still bringing this up? It's just boss babe BS, and I'm not a fan of it. Now, for Aang himself, actually, he has the kind of largest criticism out of the whole visit to Kenoshi Island. Now, my criticism for Aang is that when he's meeting with Kenoshi in the Avatar state. Now, the show writers, they don't understand Avatar at all. Now, they might understand Kenoshi's warrior perspective. Maybe we can play into that and get some understanding for what happens next. But if you're going to tell the audience what the Avatar state is, you should introduce them to the Avatar state of what it truly is. Because my issue here is Avatar Kyoshi, she equates the Avatar state as the ultimate weapon that the Avatar can use, and that to be the Avatar, you have to be a firm warrior, and you have to be powerful and all that. Now, that's fine, because that's what Kenoshi was. So that second part, okay, that's her own personal understanding coming in. But my issue is that first part. The Avatar state is not the ultimate weapon. Yes, it's very powerful, and you can call on your past lives, and you can gain a lot of power from using it. But the Avatar state is in case of emergency, because if your life is severely threatened and your abilities aren't able to save you, that's when that state gets kicked in to bring in the other lives to help save you. And the danger of being in that state is that if you die in the Avatar state, if you die, that's the end of the Avatar. Now, I could be wrong, but that's what I remember from the cartoon show, that the Avatar state is not an ultimate weapon. It is to call on your ancestor forms to help you out so you can commune with them. It's also to help you out in an emergency, but also carries a heavy price that if you die in this state, that's the end of the Avatar. Now, I could be wrong, and I could be spouting misinformation here, so please don't take my word for it. But that's from what I remember in the cartoon show, that it wasn't a weapon, because that's what the Earth Kingdom generals in Ba Sing say when our troop goes over there. That's what the generals over there thought that the Avatar state was, that it's just the ultimate weapon, that Aang, he just turns this on, he just turns into a killing machine. No, that's not what it is. So I really wish the showrunners would have introduced that concept to the audience, like, yes, this is a powerful move, but it's so much more than just the ultimate weapon. Like, it's not even a weapon. It's just in a case of emergency, so don't rely on it. Because if you could just rely on that, why would you ever want to go through the process of learning the other elements? Why not just always turn on that Avatar state and immediately go for that ultimate power? Why bother the time learning? Why spend any time training? That's my issue here, is that just by calling it the ultimate weapon and not actually giving us the gravitas of what this state is, completely undermines everything else that Aang is about to go do. And it just be like, okay, so he needs to train, but not really, because he just has a state that he can just automatically turn on, and he's never really in danger. And if he uses that, nothing bad ever happens. There's no cost to using the state. Except for, it's sometimes hard to get into, but if his life is in trouble, he'll just turn it on. So where's the stakes? That's my issue here. That is the issue. You did a horrible job saying why the Avatar state is so important to the Avatar and thus to the whole world, because Aang's main job is to create balance in the world again. I'm sorry if that sounds a bit of a diatribe and maybe I'm making no sense here, but I really had some major issues that the showrunners didn't bring at least that aspect of the conversation into what the Avatar state is and making it more than just a weapon and the danger of it. Now, Kyoshi does tell him that he needs to learn all the other elements, but when you hear that you just have this, you have this cheat code of the Avatar state, why bother training? Now, yes, they do try to retcon that later on by having Aang say that I can't rely on the Avatar state all that much because, I can only call it on emergencies. But if you're literally dying, that is an emergency. So why train? Anyways, that's my major issues there. And then my little gripe is when the Fire Nation does show up to Kyoshi Island and Aang is still communing with Kyoshi and she's able to gain control of him and go fight the Fire Nation for Aang, she is in her full garb as the Kyoshi warrior. Why is she in that garb? Because in the cartoon show, it made sense because Aang put on her clothing, her weapons, her headgear, everything, just so he could commune with her, and thus she was able to transform herself into what she looked like because Aang already had everything on. It was just enhanced image of Kyoshi in the cartoon. Versus this, where did all this clothing come from? Where did he change? Where did this face paint come from? Like, does that change all the time? So when he meets with Avatar Roku, does he get turned into the firebender and has firebender robes? Or when he goes and meets the water avatar or other air avatars, do they change their clothes as well? Like, at least in the cartoon show, it made somewhat sense because he already was wearing this stuff. But in this, just like, why is Aang wearing this? Now, it's not a major deal, but it does take you out of the story if you're paying attention a little bit, like, why is he wearing this garb now? I also have another issue here, is the Fire Nation showing up to Kyoshi Island. Not that they showed up, that's fine. It's how they showed up. Now, let me explain this. The reason why the Fire Nation showed up is that Zuko and his uncle Iroh poured into the Southern Fire Nation command post down there, and they're meeting with General Zhao. Now, Uncle Iroh, he is able to placate General Zhao by saying, like, oh, we're just, looking for some fishing patterns, so if we can just take a look at your maps and all your reports, just so we can figure out where the best fish are, we'd greatly appreciate it. Just kind of like hiding his true intentions under just a simple request, and General Zhao, yeah, go ahead. But he's very suspicious, which is a good thing because one of his aides is able to question the crew of Zuko's ship and finds out that they're hunting the Avatar, which then sends General Zhao to dig through the reports himself to go find out where the Avatar is, thus leading to Kyoshi Island. Now, why is this an issue for me? It's an issue for two reasons. First, Zuko would have told his soldiers to keep quiet, to keep quiet what's going on, to report nothing, to tell no one anything about what they're doing or why they're here. And two, the soldiers have an invested interest in capturing the Avatar themselves, because right now, they are pretty much banished from the Fire Nation. Yes, it's Prince Zuko who's banished, but they still have to be his royal escort, delivering him wherever he wants to go. So, in a sense, that whole ship of soldiers is also banished. If they are able to capture the Avatar and bring him back to the Fire Nation, they no longer have to carry Zuko around, and thus they no longer have to be banished, and they can go home to see their families. Now, maybe you can make the argument that they'll switch off ships every so often, so this one ship isn't always banished, but pretty much that's what they've been charged with, is to ferry the banished prince and his uncle around. So they have an invested interest of capturing the Avatar themselves so they can become unbanished. So having them just talk to General Zhao's men doesn't make any sense, but of course the writers and showrunners aren't thinking that deep. They just want a quick and easy way in order for General Zhao to find out the information and thus send out his forces to go attack Kyoshi Island and go find the Avatar. So again, lazy writing here. So that's kind of everything I have to say about this episode. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I completely forgot. My other thing is Kyoshi is the one who tells Aang to go to the Northern Water Tribe to help save the waterbenders up there from another fate like the airbenders. Now, my issue for this is that it's Aang and Katara who decide on their own that going to the Northern Water Tribe is the right thing to do, so Katara can learn how to waterbend and Aang can learn how to waterbend, because they need to go meet some masters, and the Southern Water Tribes don't have any masters anymore because they've just been railroaded by the Fire Nation. So Aang and Katara decide to go to the Northern Water Tribe in order to learn waterbending. And thus, while they're up there, the Fire Nation invades, and then we have the invasion of the Northern Water Tribe. And that whole story arc, which is great. I'm looking forward to it, but they're probably going to botch that as well. But regardless, why is Kyoshi the one who's sending us on this quest to go to the north? Like, it should be Aang and Katara just like making the decision on their own. See, that's my issue here. None of these really are their own decisions. Like, yes, you can maybe make the argument that Aang going to the Kyoshi Warriors is their own decision because they read it in the journal, so they're going to follow the journal. But I still would prefer them going there because Aang knew of them from his past lives and he wanted to go visit them, or Katara knew about it. Like, these things aren't massive deals, but you're just kind of taking away a little bit more of the agency every time, and it just degrades the show, in my opinion, just a little bit. Maybe I'm just insane, maybe I'm nuts, but that's how I view it. Now, you guys let me down in the comment section below. Which one of these points do you agree with? Do you think that the show is actually fantastic and I'm just being too much of a sensitive fan of the cartoon? Which probably, yes, I am. So just let me know down in the comment section below. What do you think of the show is great so far? And which point do you think I'm wrong or right about? I look forward to hearing from you guys. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.